Good morning. Hopefully, all is well for everyone. Um, Decided I was going to pop on here this morning before I get my day started. I just check in to see how everybody is doing. Yesterday, of course, you'll see it in this vlog. Went to see Jermaine Dupree at Sirius XM Radio. That was a whole vibe. Today I plan on going to check out my girl Tiffany's line dance class. I'm not a line dancer. I keep saying that I am going to learn how to line dance, but I don't know. I don't know. I got to get myself together mentally because so many things that I used to just would now it's kind of like I feel like I'm stagnant. I feel like I'm kind of being lazy, and I think this. I know a lot of people don't believe in. Excuse me. I know a lot of people don't believe in astrology and the planets and zodiac signs and stuff, but I am a believer. And I don't know, maybe it's because, we're in the midst of a retrograde. I'm not sure. But it's like something is kind of off, but then I'm not sure if it's off in a bad way or a good way. I haven't been able to sleep. I've been sleeping intermittently, being up 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Not sure if it's because everything is going on with my, career and trying to figure out which direction I'm going to go in. Am I trying to get back into corporate, or am I, going to lean and trust on God that He brought me to this place where I am right now because He has something bigger for me? I need to stop living in fear of what if, HOC all of a sudden, and it is, that's part of abandonment. What if next month they decide the check's gonna stop? Or what if they don't pay me on time this month? And how am I gonna pay my bills? And I look at my savings, and it's like, I start calculating, well, if they stop, then you only have, this amount of time before your savings has run out. Then you're gonna have to start back, hustling Instacart seriously and doing Lyft and, getting serious about Amazon Flex. Amazon is gonna be, booming whenever the holidays come up. And then it's like, okay, but doing Amazon, you're jumping in and out of the car, and you're gonna your knee is not the best, and so all of this stuff just sometimes is on me, and so I'm trying to work through that. And with this weather changing and being crazy like it is, it's throwing me off. It's throwing me in a fall type of mindset. And then I'm excited about, football season. And then I'm, leaving next week to go out of town and calculating how much that's going to cost, even though I'm dividing it by 3 people. And then at the end of the month, it's my girlfriend Tiffany's birthday. And then, we're going out of town. And I'm like, okay, calculating how much that is going to cost. So it's just like, it's things that we women especially do. We carry so much. We think about so much, and it's like, Chloe, you can't be praying and not truly manifesting. You can't keep giving it to God and say, God, I trust you, whatever it is, let your will be it. But then you keep taking it back and trying to fix it or figure it out. So that's what I am working on right now, today. And something else that I was working on this morning as I laid in bed was forgiveness. I'm not somebody who cries on camera. I'm not somebody who cries on camera. I'm not somebody who cries on camera. But forgiveness. I know my last vlog, I don't know if it's going to be my last vlog because I'm not sure what I'm going to put out before this or if it's going to be my last vlog. But I know in a previous vlog, I talked about, forgiving our children's fathers for not being there. But I realized that I need to forgive my own dad for dying. And I sometimes I hold so much anger. I hold so much anger inside. I talk about God, I talk about God's will, you know, when you believe in, if you're a believer, then you believe that everything is crazy. It's hard being a believer because it's like God already knows how you're going to die, when you're going to die, and all of that. That's what we think. But then also we think that we can circumvent that if we live better or we do better or we do things differently, then we can change the trajectory of how things occur. So it's so confusing whenever you are a believer, but then you also know that you also say that God already knows how, the time, the how, the when, and the why. So if that's the case, God already knows if you're going to heaven or hell. Is so much. That's why I'm a spiritual person. Because if I speak from a place of religion in the Bible, then to be quite honest, it's too overwhelming. I'll tell you about how I came into my spirituality one day. It was from whenever I was working at AT&T and, having a nervous breakdown from everything that happened to me in my past and how I became more of a spiritual person than a religious person based on actually Ayanna Van Zant book. Hold just a second. I'm actually, and it may not, I actually have that book. I had gotten rid of the book, but this book right here, let me get me back in view. This book back right here, Interiors. I've had this book like 3 or 4 times, but the last time I bought it, I said I would never get rid of it. This book, Interiors, A Black Woman's Healing in Progress, Ayanna Van Zant. She actually tried to stop them from publishing the book, but she had already signed a contract, and so she published it, and she's very open about her entire life, from being on drugs, from being a single mother to getting her GED, going to college, becoming a lawyer. Is like the way that she overcame and how she went from how she became a spiritual person was healing. It helped me in my healing journey. And so from there, I got her book, Ayanna Van Zant, Until Today, The Value in the Valley, and Acts of Faith. And in the meantime was very pivotal as well as Acts of Faith was very pivotal in setting me on my journey of healing back in the 90s. I talk about how I never wanted to get married because of what I saw with my mom and my dad. I talk about the self-destructive ways that I've had, for a great deal of my life because of the things that, I experienced, growing up in, my family life and all of that. And I talk about often, and all of this is going to be in my book, my memoir. I talk about how my daughter saved my life and just the changes that I've been through in life. But I've gotten off of topic. But sometimes I realize that I still am angry with my dad. My dad died in February of 1989. I was 18 years old. And I was a daddy's girl. And it's whenever you grew up with a father that was in the home, it was confusing for me because of how him and my mom used to fight. But he was still a really good father. You know, I think I've told you before that, you know, my mom was working General Motors, so my dad was the one who would take me to the dentist. He was the one who was taking me to my doctor's appointment since I was a little bitty thing. He was taking me, you know, to the doctor and stuff like that. And this back in the 70s. And I can still remember him buying me my first Huffy and teaching me how to, he's sitting on the carport in his lawn chair, and I got my training wheels on, and I got the basket on the front with the little streamers, and him teaching me how to ride my bike with my training wheels on. And then I can remember him, you know, taking the training wheels off, and I can see him taking the training wheels off and, you know, going up and down the driveway with me holding my bike. And then I can remember him letting go. I can remember him buying me my skateboard, my skates. My friend Carla, she had a crush on my dad. I never even knew my dad had hazel brown eyes until she mentioned it, and told him that he had, Mr. Casper, you got, you know, pretty eyes. And he was like, yeah, I've been hearing that my whole life. And I'm looking at her like, pretty eyes, you know, he's just dad. I remember him being out in the yard and turning a cartwheel. And as I think about it, he was in his 40s, and he's out there in the yard turning cartwheels with me and my girlfriend. I remember him barbecuing all the time. He was always throwing a barbecue. He was always taking food from the garden that we had in the backyard to give to people at work. Christmas time come, he would always, he was a holidays person. So whenever, you know, now, you know, us being so woke and everything, you know, you don't celebrate this and you don't celebrate that, you know, because it's a pagan holiday. You know, Halloween's a pagan holiday. I remember my dad used to get so excited when Halloween came. He would buy all these big, huge bags of candy, and he would be happy about, he didn't turn off the light. He was happy about giving out candy. And he and I ate as much as we gave out. And I love football because of my dad. I remember baseball season, he and I would be laying out on the porch in the lounge chairs, and he got his Michelob or Schlitz Liquor Bull beside him. I'm laying in the other lounge chair, and I could hear the bug zapper overhead, and we're listening to the Braves on the radio. Or we have the little black and white on the carport, and we're looking at it on the black and white. And just so many memories. You know, anytime I hear Misty Blue, that song immediately, or B.B. King or Bobby Blue Bland or Fats Domino or, you know, Dorothy Moore, Aretha Franklin, when I hear those songs, I hear and see my dad. So I realize I'm still mad. He's been gone. He died in '89, and this is 2025. So he's been gone 36 years, and I'm still mad at him. Because I'm like, why didn't you love me enough to want to stop drinking? I know you love me, but you didn't love me enough to give up drinking so you wouldn't have cirrhosis of the liver, to give up smoking so you wouldn't have lung cancer. You did not love me enough to give those things up. And had you given those things up, maybe the trajectory of my life would be different, because you would still be there. You would have been there to, for me to finally break down and tell you that my cousin had been molesting me, or that I had been raped. Or even if I didn't tell you, I feel like you would have been able to help me heal. You would have been able to protect me. Whenever I was going down these wrong paths, you would have been able to pull me back. You would have been able to say, Lee, he's not good for you. Or Lee, what are you doing? Dating all these. I know these niggas selling drugs. I can hear. I know these niggas selling drugs. These not the men you need to be with. And the times when I would have issues with my car, and I would be broke down on the side of the road, I would not have been alone. I wouldn't have had to figure it out. You would have been there. You would have guided me. You would have protected me. My daughter, when I had my daughter, she would have had a great father figure, because regardless of what went on between him and my mom, I know if he would have seen my baby, I tell her that all the time. My sister tells her that all the time, that if your granddaddy would have been here, baby, you would have had the world. When I say the world, we always joke that, if dad would have lived, him and mom would have moved to the house that was in the country, because my mom had a house in the country that she had built. And we were like, she wouldn't even be my child. She would be with her grandparents all the time. And, we joke about how he would have her be pulling. He'll be out there working in the yard, working in the garden, or working, in the garden. And he would have her out there in a little red wagon with a hat on. And just how spoiled she would have been had he lived. And so, and then I even think about, maybe I would have gotten married if my dad was here. It's a shot in the dark, but maybe the things that I experienced and went through and dealt with, the men that I dealt with, because I was searching for something, maybe if my dad was still here, I would have been guided in a different direction. And then I would have been blessed to have him walk me down the aisle. Like, I can remember him when I was 12 years old walking my sister down the aisle. And then he started passing out these cards at the reception saying that, I forgot what the card says, but it basically said, I'm the father of the bride, and all of my creditors are now watching me very closely. It was something like that. And he had a great sense of humor. My daddy could dance, baby. He could dance. We would put on some music, and we would get in that living room, and we would dance. When I say we would dance, we would dance. We had the long stereo that had the 8-track that you slide in the side. It had the velvet on the front, and then it had the record player. And I still have some of my dad's. Well, mom still has some of my dad's records on the back porch. They're probably no good. They're probably warped. But that's why sometimes I feel I've had to let the anger go towards Jory's father and instead just pray for him, because I had that and she didn't have that. And sometimes I even tell her, even now at her age of 30, I tell her, I say, Mama's gonna find you a daddy. I said, God is going to bless me. My prayer is, if it's meant for me to have, it sounds conflicting, because I always say I'm single and I'm happy, and I am happily single. And at times it makes me afraid that I'm too happy about being single and too comfortable. So I still pray, God, prepare me for my husband, and prepare my husband for me, so that when we see each other, we recognize you, and we recognize each other and realize that we are ordained by you. God, please make him a praying man. Let him be praying for me the same way I'm praying for him. Please have him being healed the way that you are healing me, so that when we come together, he is a whole person and I'm a whole person, and together we become one. And please let him have submitted to you the way that I have submitted to you, so that when I submit to him, I'm already submitted to you. And so when I submit to him, we're both submitting to you, and we are all one. We are all tethered together as one. You, me, and him are all one. That is my prayer. But then sometimes I question, am I praying because that's what I really want? Or am I praying because I believe that's how it's supposed to be? I'm so conflicted. And I know I never even told you guys that, but I'm so conflicted. I'm conflicted because in my heart, in my spirit, I know that I am truly wife material based on what they say wife material is. I know how to submit. And if I'm with a man, I want to submit. I don't want to be strong. I want to be led, of course, with consultation with me. Us come together and discuss whatever it is. And based on that, I have a man who I can trust is going to make the best decision for us. That's how I believe, is that he's not over me. I'm not behind him. I'm beside him. But God has chosen a man for me that I can trust, that he's going to make the best decision for the both of us. So I don't have to question his, not authority, but I don't have to question his ability to do what's right. I want a man that I can pray with together. When we hold hands to bless our food because of what God has blessed us with, that it genuinely comes from his heart, that he prays for me. The song that just stands out for me so much is the one he kept for me. I hear that song being a part of my wedding. But at the same time, I have to be honest with you guys in that I am, and I try not to, but I often think of my mortality. I do think of that. And this is what angers me so much sometimes about how men, our brothers, put us down, and our brothers are so demeaning to us, and our brothers don't value us. Because I think about, it is like the way that they keep attacking us, it tears you down, it breaks you down, it breaks your spirit, it destroys you, and it bothers me most that they don't care. But I think about my own mortality. I think about the fact that in a couple of months I'm going to be 55. And then I think about how old my mom was when she passed away. And so I start to say, well, Chloe, you got 30 more years, if God is willing, before you'll be your mom's age. And 30 years is not a long time. I start to say, well, Chloe, if you're going to get married, if you meet somebody within 5 years, then that means that you'll only have 25 more years with them. And that if they're, 5 years older than you, you might have 20. And then I start looking at things on social media that I thought happened 3-4 years ago, and realized it was 10 years ago. And so once I go down that rabbit hole, that's when the stress, that's when, I'm not going to say depression, but melancholy sets in. It's just so much. I get on here and I try and be happy. I try and be upbeat. I try to be encouraging. But today I just had to I'm not going to say I don't keep it real. I'm always keeping it real with you guys. But my goal is always to lift other people up. And in lifting other people up, my goal is not to talk about my own, I'm not going to say burdens. I don't know what's the word to use for it. To talk about the things that I fight with that I feel will not be conducive to uplifting you guys, if that makes sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying. That I don't want to, I want to be, my prayer to God is always, God, decrease me and increase you in me, so that when people see me, they see the God in me. Let my light shine so that I may bring others to you, not necessarily because I am preaching about you, but because people look at me and when I talk, they see the God in me. And with them seeing the God in me, they want to know you. They want to, they are drawn to you because of the brightness that I project out. And so they want to know God. And if God is making her to be this beautiful spirited person who is loving and encouraging, then I want to know him too, because I want to be that. I want to be like that as well. You get what I'm saying? I know you get. I know you get what I'm saying, because I'm all over the place. But it's word salad right now. It's just coming, and so I think sometimes sometimes it's like, well, I don't want it because it's not going to be 50 years. It's not going to be 40 years. I'm not going to be able to say we've been together, 44. Shout out to Mrs. Melinda. Her and her husband have been together 44 years. And sometimes it just becomes so overwhelming that I just shut down and don't want to just deal with any of it. But this morning, I made a commitment to myself as I was in the bathroom, hopped on the scale yesterday. Let me tell you what I had yesterday. Just going to another subject. I had the chicken tenders that I made the other day. Yes, chicken. And because I decided I want me some chicken and waffles. And baby, whenever I seasoned them to the gourds, that all season and slap your mama and Tony's together, salt content on 9,000, but baby, them tenders was seasoned to the gourds. So I had tenders and waffles yesterday. Then I had cookout yesterday with a milkshake. Then last night I came home and popped open a jar of black eyed peas that my sister canned and sauteed 5 of those big shrimp. So I just ate terrible yesterday. And I'm like, I can feel it. I already knew that salt content was going to have me. So I'm back at 211. I was at 209. I'm back at 211. And so I said today, until we leave out of town next Thursday, I'm going to try my best to really reel it in and get it under control. My goal is to lose 5 pounds by next Thursday. So today I'm 211. But just, y'all, I have my days, and today is one of those days. So today my focus is practicing what I preach. And that is finding a way to stop sometimes suddenly becoming angry with my father whenever my life is so confused and I'm so conflicted, and blaming him for, he was an alcoholic. And it was a sickness that he had his own demons. He had his own demons, and I have to realize that he did have his own demons. And it was a sickness that he wasn't able to fight off. And because of that, he passed away at a very early, very, very early age. My dad died in 89. He was born in 34. So he was in his mid-50s. And I think that bothers me as well because, and part of the reason why I said I had to get myself together with my drinking, because I'm at the age that my dad was when he passed away. But I have to remind myself that with the exception of my dad's father, who died when he was in his 60s, I think. My dad died, he succumbed based on his living habits. His son, my brother, he was in his 50s when he passed away, but that was because of his drinking, and he was a diabetic. But I have to remember myself, both of my grandmothers were, how old was Grandma? Grandma Green died in 2002, and she was born in 1912. Grandma Castleberry died 2 years later. 2 years later. And she was born in 1912. So they were 90 and 90. So, and then my mom, she was in her 80s. So I have to stop. Just let me know if you, my seasoned sisters, if these types of thoughts go through your mind. Do you start thinking about your own mortality? Do you start counting down, and then you start praying, God, please don't let me be sick. Please let me be able to still walk and talk and enjoy and have a good time. Don't let me be ill. Let me live a fulfilled life. And that's what I need to redirect my thoughts to, asking God, please just let me have a well-fulfilled life. And please take those thoughts out of my mind. That is what I need to focus on. So it's 77 days till Scorpio season, just to let y'all know. And I'm about to get my butt up, go to the grocery store, go to the farmer's market, get me some fruit. I think I'm gonna make the watermelon salad today, and a watermelon cucumber salad. I'll also make a cucumber salad, and cucumbers, cherries, and black olives, something like that. Anyway, it's some summer salads that I am going to commit to get me some more shrimp. Still do the 3 shrimp because I need the protein, and so y'all, let me show y'all right quick. First of all, before I get ready to go, let me show you what I actually got. Y'all, at DD's, messing around at DD. Ooh, let me see if I can, because I got it on follow. Take it off of follow. I don't want active tracking on. But anyway, y'all, so this is my little kickabout. This material is different because it's not hot like the other one. So this is my little kickabout, my latest. No, I did not get these at Diddy's. I got this at City Trends yesterday. But y'all, and then, now this I got from Diddy's. Hold just a second. Let me take this lens off right quick so y'all can see better. Y'all, Kaylani, let me show you why I'm pissed off at you. Let me take this down here. Kaylani. Now I got this at DD's. Do y'all see how big this is? Y'all see how big? Maybe you can't tell how big it is, but let me show you. But what I like about it, so looking at me, let me bring this up. This is how big this is. This is how big. My camera about to go dead, so I need to hurry up. This is how big this is. So I got this for the trip on next Thursday. So I should be able to put sneakers, tennis shoes. I can put everything in here. I can air compress. But check out the price, y'all. Y'all see the price? So, yeah. So even though I'm mad at you, Kaylani, that I could not pass up. And I can get everything I need in there. Because last time I had the tote, and then I had the backpack, and then I had my purse. I ain't got to do all that with this. That should be enough to have 3 days worth of stuff, shoes, everything. But anyway, my camera's about to go dead. I'm getting ready to post this. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to me. You guys were my therapist today. Oh, I gotta tell y'all, because y'all know I got these teeth in the back that I want to get replaced. Didn't think that I would be able to afford implants, but kicking it with my sisters yesterday, one turned me on to the dental college in Augusta, and the amount that she quoted me, baby, I'm gonna have to be taking a road trip a couple of times so I can get my grill right, because the amount that she told me she paid, baby, I'm going. But I'm about to get out of here. My camera's about to go dead. This is gonna just be one vlog. I'm not gonna combine it with anything because I just needed, I needed you guys today. I needed you guys today, and I thank you, because today you guys are my therapists. I'll holler at you guys later. Love you, bye.